trying to reduce the amount of microplastics, especially for pregnant women and young kids. Egg counts are going down in women at a given age. Polycystic ovarian syndromes are going up. These have real implications. Reduced sperm counts, these are real effects. Testosterone levels are going down, sperm counts are going down, and it correlates well with phthalates and things in drinking water, not fluoride, but other things, endocrine disruptors.
What sparkling water do you drink? I didn't know there were people that were so tied to fluoride. What's the deal?
Well, it's in the drinking water, and it does make teeth stronger. The question is, does it have ill effects if people aren't filtering it out?
We filter it all out. We got a new system at my house about a year ago.
So reverse osmosis or distill?
Man, I don't know. I looked at so many of them, I can't remember, but it goes through 3 filters, and then it goes through this thing called like a biodynamizer or something like that.
It probably is reverse osmosis and then remineralizes the water, which you want. What I learned from researching microplastics is they're everywhere. We can give up trying to get them out of the environment. They're everywhere. But you can minimize, like drinking out of these metal cans is good. I drink out of some plastic every once in a while. A glass vessel is good. Metal's good. There are a few things out there like certain brands of carbonated water that have been hit particularly hard with the analysis. Like they'll go do analysis of sparkling water. And like Topo Chico landed flat on its face with tons of these endocrine disruptors.
No. Are you serious?
Oh yeah, it's the worst by a long shot. That was in roughly 2020, 2021.
I love Topo Chico.
It's like 9 point something parts per trillion. But then Coca-Cola company who owns them said that they were going to reduce that. I think they've halved that. But in terms of the number of endocrine disruptor forever chemicals that are in there, much, much higher than in anything else. Even though it's glass, it's the water. They may have cleaned that up. Somebody should do an analysis again. But then it goes the other way too. So you may have heard, like we ingest a credit card's worth of plastic every week. That study was refuted by another study that showed no, that measurement was off by about 1 millionfold. It's actually much lower. You can also phase 2 liver detox a lot of this stuff by, eat some broccoli and cruciferous vegetables every once in a while. There's sulforaphane in cruciferous vegetables will help with stage 2 liver detoxification. You're not, by the way, folks, to be clear, you're not detoxing your liver, you're assisting your liver to detox things from your body. When you use detox, that's like the trad media loves to jump on that. Like you can't detox. You can detox that you have toxins in your body. You can sweat some of them out, but not all of them. Your liver helps remove certain waste products. Sulforaphane, you can take in supplement form. You can get from cruciferous vegetables, broccoli sprouts, et cetera. That'll help. But trying to reduce the amount of microplastics, especially for pregnant women and young kids. Shawn, who's been on Rogan's podcast, has been on my podcast, it hasn't come out yet, has been talking about how, just to be direct, that these endocrine disruptors during pregnancy are shortening the distance between the scrotum and the anus in boys. The taint size literally is shrinking toward a more female pattern with progressive exposure to phthalates and endocrine disruptors present in receipts, present in plastic bottles, polycystic ovarian syndrome and egg count. Egg counts are going down in women at a given age. Polycystic ovarian syndromes are going up. Shawn, who's a researcher for several decades now, thinks this is related to the prevalence of endocrine disruptors in receipts, forever chemicals, and so on. So these have real implications. Reduced sperm counts, these are real effects. Testosterone levels are going down, sperm counts are going down, and it correlates well with phthalates and things in drinking water, not fluoride, but other things, endocrine disruptors.
What sparkling water do you drink?
I'll drink I no longer will drink Topo Chico. I will drink like a Pellegrino, or any of any Calistoga or Pellegrino. I do try and drink out of metal or glass, but I'll occasionally drink out of a plastic bottle. Even cans are bad because of the lining of cans, but most of them now are BPA free. I don't microwave things in plastic, even microwave safe plastic, if I can avoid it. But if I'm on a plane and the food's good, I'll eat it. I'm not a fanatic. The idea is to limit your exposure, no one's going no exposure.
Okay.
And, they package some of the best meat in plastic. So you have to, work with reality. But for pregnant women, for young kids, limiting the exposure to these things is turning out to be very, very consequential. And not limiting is potentially consequential.
What else is in our drinking water?
Well, a lot of hormone-related stuff, birth control stuff, and urine-containing hormones goes out there that might make it into drinking water. I think it's just a good idea to filter your drinking water if possible. And for people that can't afford a fancy filtering system, a tabletop, pour type filtering system is pretty good as long as you change over the filters. You can. What else is in there? Well, the BPAs and the phthalates and the mostly BPAs and these forever chemicals are very concerning. These forever chemicals don't leave the body. That's their concern, or the concern rather. I think for me, just trying to limit drinking out of plastic bottles has become important. If you buy things in plastic, like fruits or vegetables, which they do a lot now, which I do, can't always make it to farmers markets. Putting it into a bowl, rinsing it off is key. Those little steps and not handling receipts is key. If you do have to handle receipts for work, you should wear nitrite gloves. Not nitrite, excuse me. You should wear nitrile gloves. Nitrite would be something else. Nitrile gloves. Latex would be not as good, but still better than handling a lot of receipts. Shayna has done this work where they go in and work with couples that are trying to conceive and are having trouble conceiving, and they remove a lot of the things from their life that I just described.
Mm-hmm.
They take a lot, and they see pretty impressive shift towards successful pregnancy, not making any other changes.
Wow.
Which is really impressive.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got a question. I may have been sold on this, but when I was looking at all these different filtration systems, I was talking about that biodynamizer, and with the company and the installer that came out was telling me that if you take tap water and crystallize it, it looks like a deformed, non-symmetrical snowflake. And he says if you put it through the biodynamizer, then it will actually trick the water into thinking that it was like in a stream or in nature or wherever, and it will actually crystallize like it was from nature. Have you ever heard of this?
No, but I'm guessing if that's true, it's probably because the water coming out of the tap has other particles in there that the crystals form around and give you kind of more deformed crystals. There's a lot of stuff coming through the tap and pipes, and I'm not typically lumped into the conspiracy theorist camp. But what I am confident saying is that, I'm 49 now, so I get to say things like I'm 49 now. I also get to say things like, I remember when the lead thing became an issue, right? Lead paint, kids with neurologic defects from eating lead paint or for being exposed to lead. Asbestos warnings, right? Asbestos is bad, right? You don't want to be exposed to this stuff, lead or asbestos. I think fluoride has done more to strengthen teeth than damage it's done to most kids in most cities. So I think they had to make a best case decision there, kind of risk benefit analysis there. But given that most people can probably afford an inexpensive filter for their water, and what's been shown about fluoride is somewhat concerning, probably best to filter it out now that we know. Remember, trans fats were everywhere. When I was growing up, everyone thought margarine was a healthier thing to eat. Now we know that stuff is really good to avoid. That's at the level of government. Microplastics, it was in 2015, I believe, probably got the date wrong, that they banned the use of these little micro beads in soaps. Remember the microbeads are because those were getting out into the environment and causing some serious issues for marine animals and marine life generally. And now we're starting to think about microplastics for humans. We're talking about it for adults, and everyone goes, oh gosh, this sounds like really woo. Guess what? They were banned from sippy cups from kids and from drink bottles from kids because the government knows that we don't want that stuff going into babies. So oftentimes same thing with chemical-based sunscreens for babies because their skin is much more permeable. So at what stage does your skin become so impermeable that it's safe to put these things on them? Well, mineral-based sunscreens with zinc oxide are generally thought to be safe. Chemical-based sunscreens, I catch a lot of heat for this. People are like, I can't believe he's saying this. In Europe, they allow, okay, fine. That's fine. But to me, if it's even a remote possibility, that
Why would it? Yeah.
then why would you do it? Wear a hat or wear a long sleeve shirt. Like, this is where, why gamble on on what people don't know? This is what makes sense to me, especially given that I work with scientists. I understand we know certain things, but we don't know everything.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.